Everyone, how's it going? This is Georgie back again for another dev challenge, and this time it's all about local LLMs, local AI models, specifically Google's Gemma 4, which is a new and hot, and I haven't tried it yet, and this is the perfect excuse to finally get my hands on it. When AI first started taking off, everyone had the same question. What if I don't have internet connection? What if I'm on a plane or something like that? Which is a very legitimate question. But now it's a bit irrelevant because I think Gemma 4 is so impressive and it can do so much already, and this is just the beginning. Now, granted, local LLMs still have some limitations because they are run on your local machines, whether it is your laptop, your phone, your PC, whatever. They have significantly less power and less computational abilities and capabilities than data centers out there somewhere that have bajillion gigabytes of RAM or something like that, and CPU and all the resources in the world basically. So don't expect to match them with your laptop or phone or whatever. And now let me show you my PC, my equipment, my gear, which is absolute overkill. And there she is, the monster PC where all the magic happens. I promise you this looks better at night, but it'll do. It's running an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4080 Super with 16 gigabytes of GDDR6X VRAM, and that GPU is absolutely devouring the Gemma 26B model without even breaking a sweat. But then I ran the same application on my MacBook for testing purposes, an Apple M4 MacBook with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it had a much harder time keeping up. I think that was actually the first time I ever heard the fans spin up on that machine and going crazy because it just hit it up. The reason is simple, basically. So larger AI models benefits massively from strong GPU performance and high memory bandwidth. So if you don't have high-end hardware, it's usually better to stick with smaller models like E4B or E2B even, because those are much easier to run locally. And now let's just talk about what I built, because that's the most important and most interesting part. Alright, this is the main page of our application, which is called NeuralHats, and as you can see here, it's running on localhost, which makes sense because this application is a local application. It's using local LLMs and you don't really need to deploy it anywhere. This application is actually based on 6 Thinking Hats, which is created by Edward de Bono, who was a Maltese physician and commentator, and he originated the term lateral thinking and wrote many books about it, and he was the one who created this framework where you can just think from different perspectives, and this kind of thinking is where new ideas and critical ideas are born, and also the creative ideas as well. We will see how. So 6 hats, how it works. It's a very interesting concept, and I won't dive too deep into how it works and its theory and everything like that. I will just give you a high-level picture and you can always check out the details about it. So basically, it's a group of 6 professionals who think in a different ways. Like for instance, you have a person who has a blue hat, white hat, red hat, black hat, yellow hat, and a green hat. And each individual has their own roles and their own perspectives. For instance, as you can see here, the person with a blue hat is focused on the big picture and managing. The person with a white hat provides facts and information. Red is all about feelings and emotions. Black is always negative. Yellow is always positive. It's basically opposite of black. And the green is basically new creative ideas. So during the discussion, those hats and those people who wear those hats cannot deviate from their role. Meaning that, for instance, if I wear a black hat, even if I feel positive about the ideas that I hear, I still need to be negative because that's my role. I need to be negative about anything that's discussed in this discussion. So same goes for all of those hats. And one more thing, blue hat is kind of special because it overlooks the whole situation and it kind of manages and coordinates everything that's going on there. And here is the source code of the application. You can see the README file here. Let's talk about the tech stack quickly. So as you can see, I used React for the single page application. Also, I used TypeScript for type checking and that kind of stuff. I also used Vite, Tailwind CSS, React Router, React Markdown, and JS PDF plus HTML2 canvas for PDF export. This is one of the features of this application. As for the backend, I use Python stack. I use, for instance, Fast API for REST API and SSE streaming. As for AI, I use Gemma 4 through Olema, and I have 7 custom model files. Why 7? Because we have 6 per head system prompts and 1 dedicated facilitator for different kinds of things, and we will see how we use this facilitator. Also, for the infrastructure, I use SQLite for storing discussions, messages, and everything. Also, the summaries of the discussions. And we also use server sent events because we need to make sure that everything happens real time. You can see the architecture here, how everything works. We have the front-end application here. It communicates with HTTP REST. We don't even need HTTPS because this is a local application. And we also have the SSE streaming, as I mentioned in the AI and infrastructure section. So this is our backend, which has an orchestrator, which is the central part of the application, and it orchestrates pretty much everything between the AI models and backend components and everything like that. Also, we got the event queue and user queue to manage these actions between users. We also have a database layer which is used for every database operation, and it connects to SQLite, which is absolutely sufficient solution for this kind of application. You don't really need complex capabilities that's offered by MySQL or PostgreSQL or MS SQL or something like that. You can use SQLite and you're good. And we also have, of course, the Olema client, which connects to Olema, which is running on your local machine. And you can have these Gemma 4 models in here and use them. To download and install this application, first you need to clone the whole repository, and you will find these scripts. You have 2 setup scripts and you have 2 start scripts. And why do we have 2 of them? This is .ps1, which is for Windows PowerShell, and this is .sh, which is for Mac and Linux. This script takes care of all the dependencies that you might need. For instance, to make sure that the prompt files exist before creating models. Then it should create the models. Then it should install dependencies, front-end dependencies, and everything like that. And it does a lot of checking and things like that. You can dive deep into the script. It's not that complex. And basically the same is done in the SH version, which is for Linux and Mac. You can see it's pretty much the same, but in a different language. And when you install and set up everything, you need to use these two scripts like start PS1 and start SH, which will make sure that everything is ready and all set to run this application, and it will just launch your application. Okay, now let's talk about LLM, which is also a very important part of this application. As you can see, I don't have anything right now. I just have installed this Gemma 4 26p, and I should have Gemma 4 E4b, and for this application I use Gemma 4 E4b because even for my PC this was too much. I really thought it would have run without any problems, but it was slow, so I decided to switch back to Gemma 4 E4b because that's really fast, and you don't really need anything bigger than that. You should make sure you run Ollama because this is very important. Make sure you don't try to download those models here because these download icons are a bit misleading. They don't do anything. So you need to go to your terminal right here. And for instance, if we want to download the E4b model, we should do something like that. So Ollama pull Gemma E4b, something like that. I hope I remember it correctly. So I already have downloaded, so I won't run the script. And also keep in mind that these models are really large. For instance, this particular model, Gemma 4 E4b, basically, this is about 5 gigabytes in size, so it's gonna take a while before it's downloaded. So now let's see which models I have right now. So Ollama list, you need to run this command and you'll see that I have Gemma 4 E4b. Oh, it's much bigger than 5 gigabytes. It's up to 10 gigabytes actually. And I have Gemma 4 26p, which is up to 17 gigabytes, which is crazy. All right. And now it's time to set up our application and use it. Since I'm using Windows, I'll be using the PowerShell version of the script. So let's run setup PS1. It's gonna take a few seconds and it's finished. And now we actually can run the start PS1 and let's see what happens. All right, so before we actually try our application, let's see a couple of things in the source code. In the Ollama client, you can see hat models defined here. We have white, black, green, red, and so on. And every model has their own model files, basically, which means that instead of using one model, one instance of the model, I'm using the separate models, which will make sure that those models never get biased by what was run before, which is really critical because these models need to think totally independently. Otherwise, they might influence each other. So that's why we need to separate everything out. So if we, for instance, let's quickly stop this process here and run CLS to clear up the screen. And now let's do OLEMA list. And you can see that other than these Gemma models, we have these 7 models here. And each of the model is responsible for one job only. This is responsible for green hat, this is for yellow hat, this is for facilitator, and everything like that. As you can also see, we have 3 different modes like boardroom, workshop, and the research lab. And each of the modes define how the conversation goes. For instance, the boardroom is basically a senior executing strategy session. As for the workshop, it's more informal. It's like discussing things with your team, basically, or with your friends or something like that. And the research lab is more, let's say, analytical, and you need to prove your point more by facts on statistics or whatnot. So those 3 modes are really different, and you need to pick the relevant one because they're topics that suit, for instance, research lab or maybe workshop or boardroom. It's up to you to decide, basically. And we also have model files here. This is a template which is used to create all the model files in the OLEMA. And we have different prompts here for each hat, including the facilitator. And the facilitator does couple of things, like for instance generating a title or summarizing the discussion and everything like that. So as for the heads, though, they have just one role, their role. And for instance, as you can see, it has rules, some kind of strict prohibitions. And one of the hardest things actually was this, to instruct the heads in a way that they don't deviate from the discussion and also from their role. That was the hardest part, to be honest. I spent the whole day trying to get it whatever I wanted to be. So yeah, in the end it turned out decent, but I think it can be improved even more. And these prompts are basically how those models are created here during the setup process. So let's see our application in action. So this is the home page, as you have already seen. You can play around with different links here, for instance the minds behind it, and you can see Edward de Bono and me in the same style as him, except for I'm wearing a black hat, he's wearing a white hat. And let's see the information about Edward de Bono, who was a really smart man. He created the whole framework of 6-hat theory. And you can also see different links here, which you can visit to learn more about himself or maybe about the 6 hats. And this is my detailed information, which is nothing interesting and important compared to Edward de Bono's, who was a legend. And yeah, you can see different social links, for instance GitHub, LinkedIn, X, dev.to, Discord, and whatnot. And YouTube video, this video will be added as well once it's done. You can actually see how it works. Here are your instructions that you can use to understand the game, the rules, and everything like that. It's not really hard and complex, and you can actually expand those components to learn more about each hat, for instance, black hat, white hat, green hat, and every hat basically. You can see the debate modes here, and also detailed guidelines regarding how to use this application. Okay, so this central component is where your controls are basically. I mean, you can start any debate in this component. And now let's think about one topic that's pretty debatable and see how everything unfolds. So for instance, should car manufacturers prioritize moving controls into infotainment systems rather than adding more controls, more physical buttons for more convenience and usability. And when I submit this topic, it will start thinking. And that's the facilitator thinking about refining your text to generate a title, which is the title of your discussion basically. So let's just submit it. And it's thinking. It took not a lot of time. So physical buttons versus digital controls debate. That's pretty good. Let's pick boardroom. Let's say we are in General Motors or Ford headquarters, and we can actually pick a hat and participate in the discussion as that hat that we choose. Or maybe we can also choose the spectator mode, which means that AI will do the discussion part. Let's go with that first. Start debate. And you can see the debate room here. White hat is already talking, which is good. You can actually see the hat guide quickly here. And they are talking. And they all have their own roles. Look at the red hat. I feel a profound sense of unease listening to the discussion about adaptive interfaces and predictive logic. That hat is really sensitive. As you can see here, we have maximum of 5 rounds, and we are at round 2. And the blue hat is trying to keep the discussion on the rails and not to deviate outside of it. You can actually go back home here and browse past debates. It's already saved in database, and you can actually see that it's in progress and click to rejoin. Easy as that. This is great. I'm seeing some ideas showing up already, which is good. You can actually stop the discussion as well, but we're not gonna stop right now. I'll show you what happens when you stop it. And also the blue hat might stop the discussion earlier than round 5, because sometimes the discussions are deviated from the topic, or the hats try to say the same things over and over again, and that's the sign that you need to stop the discussion. But looks like this discussion is going up to 5 rounds. Okay. This is actually really interesting because you can actually get a lot of idea from those hats. And I'm gonna use it for sure for many things. Because as a human being, you need different perspectives, you know. That's always good when you can actually have different perspectives in your life because you see things in a different way. You're not just stuck with one perspective, which is always bad because you might be missing out some pretty good things. So the debate is complete, as you can see here. And you can actually generate a report based on this discussion, which is done by the facilitator. And let's just generate the report. It's going to take a few seconds because it analyzes the whole discussion and everything like that, and it's going to generate a thorough report. And actually, even my monster PC is running pretty hot right now because these AI models are no joke, let me tell you that. Alright, so this is our summary. So yeah, you can see the summaries for each hat here. It's quite a big one. So you can also see the final recommendation, which is also good. And one thing you can do as well is export this report as a PDF. And let's do it. Let's open it. And here's your report in a form of PDF file. Nice. Let's go back home. Let's browse past debates, and as you can see here, this is completed. And you can actually view a report here. You can see the same report because it's saved in the database. Also, you can delete it, but before we delete it, let me show you the database here. So we have this NeuralHats DB, which you can actually find in the source code. It's created locally here. This is it. When you run the start ps1 or start.sh, this is created automatically, so you don't have to create it. All right, so as you can see, it has debates table, messages, rounds. So basically the relationship between those tables are the following. So debates can have multiple rounds. One debate can have multiple rounds, basically. And one round can have multiple messages, which makes sense, right? So let's just select from debates, and let's see what we have. Should car manufacturers and rest of the text. This is it. And now let's select from rounds. We should have 5 rounds here because the debate, it was actually 4 rounds, looks like. Okay, we had 4 rounds. And let's select from messages and see what we have here. So we have all the messages in here. Great. And now we can delete this debate, confirm, and yes, it's gone. And every round, every message is gone once you do that. Let's now be the blue hat and discuss a topic. Something like, should phones have replaceable batteries? Okay, and let's pick the blue hat. As you can see, if you choose the blue hat, the interface turns blue, and same happens for every other hat. For instance, if I had chosen the green hat, this interface would have been green. I'll show you that. Don't worry. All right, they are discussing. And it's my turn, and I'm a blue hat, and I should write something, and then I need to decide whether or not I should continue this discussion. If I were just another hat, for instance, yellow or red or green, I wouldn't have had these two options. I would have just submit or something like that. So because I'm a blue hat, I need to continue or stop it. So yeah, I need to specify each round whether or not I need to continue. So let's just write great points. Let's just stay on the rails. And let's continue. This continue is a keyword here because that's how the system knows that it should continue. If there was stop, the discussion would stop basically. So that's why we have those two options to make sure that these keywords are appended to my message. Okay. Maybe let's just stop the discussion now. Okay, I stopped it. And let's say that I don't want to generate the report now, and I will generate the report later. So maybe later. And browse past debates. So we can actually see that I was a blue hat in this discussion. I can actually see the transcript of it. And actually I can generate report here. So you can generate reports even based on the stopped discussions. All right, here's your report. And now we can delete it. Confirm. All right. That's cool. So you can play around this application, try out things, try different modes here. You can be any hat here, and let's see how the interface changes when I pick the red hat, for instance. Let's say let's pick the same topic basically. Should phones have replaceable batteries? All right. Let's pick the red hat and start debate. So yeah, as you can see, the interface has turned red. All right. So that was pretty much it about the application. Thanks for watching. As always, you can contribute to it, make pull requests, create issues, find bugs, find new features. I have already outlined next steps. So basically what I planned is adding voice mode, also multiplayer debates, custom hat personas. Maybe you can customize your hats or maybe add new hats as well, depending on your choice. Debate templates, which is interesting. Also different export formats, like for instance MD5 or something like that. Insight analytics, API access. I need to think about this one more. And in the future, maybe I can build a mobile application as well, which will be a cool application for things like that, especially after I implement the voice mode, because I don't know, typing in mobile can be really, I don't know, tedious sometimes. At least for me, because I don't really like typing on mobile. So if I have a mobile application, I need to do the voice mode first. That's the plan. Alright, that was pretty much it about NeuralHats, and see you next time.